Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dr. Twanna Carter, career transition coach, and I know you used to see me at 8:35, and I had the everything set up, and evidently I forgot to click a button somewhere. But and then all of my data was wiped out, so that was pretty interesting. But you know what? We got it all set. All my data is back in, and here we are, right? So, if this is your first time meeting me, Dr. Tawana Carter, and as a career transition coach, I work with stressed, busy women executives who are struggling with imposter syndrome, self criticism, and doubt. I help them to alleviate their stress so that they can find peace of mind and fully focus on excelling in their careers. And tonight, I am here talking about, if you've been with me for the month, you know that for the entire month of March, I've been talking about unlocking the secrets to career success. And tonight, I'm talking about mental fitness, the key to breakthrough criticism and negative thoughts. So, that is what we're talking about tonight. And I will link in the comments, I will link to all the other videos, the lives that I've done this month on unlocking the secrets of career success. And because you asked for it, I still have one more for you next week, even though it is April, but I've got a bonus for you. Okay. So I do want to welcome you. Welcome you again. Thank you for hopping on. I want to say welcome to those of you on LinkedIn. Welcome, welcome. To those of you that are seeing this on Facebook, you too are welcome. For those of you that are seeing it on LinkedIn, welcome. And for those of you that are viewing this on Twitter, welcome. And for those of you who are catching the replay, you are quite welcome as well. I do invite you to leave questions, comments. I always circle back to answer questions or comments, right? And so if you're seeing this live, go ahead and drop live in the comments for me. And for those of you that are watching the replay, you can drop replay in the comments. Well, and I want to just make sure I am tagged over to see comments. And let me just extend that tab just a little bit. So as you make any comments, I can actually see them. So tonight we're talking about really how Black women leaders can unlock the secrets of success by focusing on mental fitness. And so let's just look at first, let's start with definitions, right? Oh, that just sounded like I was back in my third or fourth grade class when she said, we're doing definitions today. I didn't like English, so I didn't like the definition vocabulary stuff, not so much. But here I am many moons later talking about the definition of mental fitness, right? So, mental fitness is your capacity to respond to life's challenges with a positive rather than a negative mindset. And that's according to Shirzad Shamin, who has a program called Positive Intelligence Mental Fitness, of the which I am one of the coaches that work with him. I've been trained by him, right? So that's what mental fitness is. It's like not if something happens, but we know it's going to happen. But when you go through life's tough challenges, being able to respond in a positive mindset rather than a negative mindset, that's mental fitness, right? That is different from mental health. And when we're talking about mental health, right, we're talking about your emotional health, your psychological well being, which, right, it affects how we feel, how we think, and how we act, right? And then it also helps determine how we handle stress in relations to others and the choices that we make. So that's mental health. Talking about your emotional health, your psychological health, and your social well-being, and how those things come together to affect the decisions that you make, how you handle stress, and the choices that you make. Again, first is mental fitness, which is basically your capacity to go through difficult, challenging situations and maintain that positive mindset. And so, let me know in the comments. Give me a one if you have heard of mental fitness and knew that definition, or two if this is the first time you've heard of mental fitness, right? And so today I want to just explore how mental fitness can help you break free of self criticism and negative thoughts that may be actually holding you back in your career. If you read the trailer, you know that as Black women in leadership positions, you're not a stranger to challenges. To get to where you are, we know that you had many challenges and obstacles that you had to overcome. Not only just being a minority in the workplace, and it depends on where you went to school, it depends on how people feel about or what their perception is of the school you went to, their perception of how you were raised, their perception of how much money you have. There's a lot of different things, right, that we have to overcome to get to where you are now. But what you may not also understand is that your significant barrier can actually be internal. That's correct. So, yes, we know that your physical environment and whether you're facing racisms or microaggressions or any of those things, those are all external to you, right? Those are all outside of you. But one of your biggest obstacles may be internal, and that's a negative self-talk loop, and that self-criticism that could be on the loop going over and over and over, and is a powerful barrier to creating success, right? And unfortunately, it's all too common among women and the Black women in the workplace. And so, these things can range from feeling inadequate, feeling you're not enough, fear of failure, imposter syndrome, feeling that you're letting your race down or letting your culture down, right? Any of those things can really create this sense of, am I not going to make it? And also, and I would encourage you to understand that Black women experience depression different than other folks. Many of us know the common signs of depression, not feeling like you want to do anything, feeling like there's a lack of energy. For some folks, depending on the level of depression, they're at home, they can't get out of bed for days at a time, just don't want to brush your teeth, wash your face, don't really want to move, right? Some people eat a lot, some people don't eat anything or because they lose their appetite. Some people sleep a tremendous amount, others not so much. Those are the typical signs when we talk depression. Those are the typical signs of depression. But in Black women, right, depression is seen as irritability. So again, whereas many people may feel like, oh, I can't get out of bed, I know there's something wrong. I've taken off work for the last 2 weeks and I can't get enough energy to do anything. Black women still go to work, but they're irritable, right? They're just irritable. And Black women will also turn that, again, it's internal, where they're like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing it well enough. I could have done this better. And so those symptoms, like if you are experiencing those things and there is a lack of happiness, you can't seem to find joy in anything that you do, I do invite you to go see a mental health professional, right? For those of you that know me, you also know that I'm a licensed counselor as well. And I really don't talk about it as much here because as a licensed counselor, I have my licensure at my master's level, which is counseling. And as a coach, I can call myself Dr. Carter because my degree is in human services and not counseling. But I do know that Black women, we experience depression different than everyone else. And so the irritability with yourself, with others around you, and the feeling that you're never enough, you can't do it good enough, and you're not measuring up. Meanwhile, your ratings say you measure up and people are complimenting you all around, but you feel like I'm not there and you're consistently beating yourself up. If you feel that way, along with long moments of depressed moods, then certainly see a licensed mental health profession, right? Versus just a coach. So I'm here today talking about, as a career coach, but also saying that I'm aware that some of the symptoms may cross that line over to mental health. And so you don't really need to see a coach, right? For those symptoms, you need to see a professional licensed mental health clinician, be it a nurse practitioner, a counselor, a licensed social worker, psychologist, psychiatrist, that kind of thing, right? So let's get back to the coaching stuff now that we had the, but I do want to put that note out because some of us as Black women, we do beat ourselves up year after year after year, not understanding we may be suffering from symptoms of depression because nobody really calls that out, right? And so today we're really talking about not that to the level of mental health, but we're talking about the feelings of inadequacy and that negative self-talk and it's not dragging you down, but it's like whenever you get ready to go, it's like, oh, are you sure? I don't know. You didn't do that well. You didn't do this. We're talking about that kind of thing, right? And these feelings can be incredibly difficult to overcome, but with the right mental fitness tools, you can actually break free from the negative self-talk and that self-criticism, basically the negative thought patterns that happens when we're like tough on ourselves, right? And so we've talked about, the definition of mental fitness versus that definition of mental health. Now, when it comes to self-criticism and negative self-talk, the patterns, again, they could really damage your mental health and overall well-being if you don't attend to it, right? Because creating that constant stream of self-doubt and that constant, which leads to, right, the undermining of your own confidence, your motivation, it just makes it harder for us to achieve our goals and reach our potential. And so there are some strategies that you can use to break free of those negative thinking patterns and improve your mental fitness. So one of those things is practice self-compassion, right? You heard me say a few moments ago about we beat ourselves up, and we do. We spend a lot of time beating ourselves up. But definitely by practicing self-compassion instead of being your harshest critic, treat yourself with compassion, treat yourself with the same kindness that you would treat a stranger or a friend or a colleague, right? Or a child. You know, most of us, if we see a young child and the child, is crying, or, they have that little look in their face. My daughter used to have that, her eyes that water up, and in her lip was tremble just a little bit, and she had those long tears running down. She wouldn't do anything else. But most of us are going to be compassionate when we see that. We're not going to go, you're so stupid, you could have done this better, you could have done that. No, we're going to have compassion. Turn that compassion towards yourself, right? Because by learning to be more compassionate toward yourself, you can actually start to break free of that negative talk and criticism that often holds you back. You know, when I coach women, oftentimes when they come to me, they talk themselves, negative self-talk. They talk themselves out of so many positions, right? And when I sit down and talk with them, it's like, okay, let's do an inventory. What are your transferable skills? What are your skill sets? What are your experience? Oftentimes what I end up telling them is, I understand the jobs that you're applying for. I got that. But you're applying for a job 1 to 2 times under the level you're operating at. The thing is they've allowed negative self-talk to talk themselves out of the job. And I know that many of us have been told you've got to work 2 to 3 times as hard to be thought of as normal. And that's a cultural thing that has been hammered into many of us. But the thing is trying to work at 2 to 3 times your level when you're already excelling causes burnout. It causes excessive stress. It also causes you to work for a lot less money than you should be making because you're operating up here, but you're only getting paid for down here. And that's when I help women, and they're always shocked because when I talk to them, I'm going like, no, no, I understand that's what you're applying for, but that's about 1 or 2 levels under what you can work at. You can do it. And they kind of look at me like, you're just trying to get my money, aren't you? So I was like, no, really. And so when I teach them how, I coach them how to go in and look at it, they're like, you're exactly right. Or they go and search I tell them, I'll look at these jobs over here. And they look and find out that they were actually applying for jobs, sometimes 3 levels above what they're working at, right? Because that's how negative criticism and negative self-talk can hold you back from achieving. Okay. Another important tool in managing your mental fitness tool is mindfulness, right? Mindfulness allows you to focus in on the present and not so much as what may happen here, and not so much on ruminating what has happened in the past. But it's like being present with yourself without judgment, right? And really by practicing mindfully regularly, you can learn to quieten that inner critic and get a better sense of control over your thoughts and your emotions. This can actually lead you to approach challenges and obstacles with a greater sense of clarity and resilience, right? And resilience is not bouncing back to where you were before. Resilience is about bouncing further, bouncing ahead. Because if you bounce back to where you are in the same or a similar challenge comes, then you're going to really, really struggle with it. So you want to bounce back better, not just bounce back to where you were. And some people get that confused when they hear resilience. It's not coming back to where you were. It's about going through the challenge and coming out ahead. That's what mental fitness allows you to do. Okay. And then finally, I want to talk about the last thing that you can do is surround yourself with a supportive community of your peers or mentors and sponsors, family, friends, right? Who are able to offer you guidance or encouragement or motivation or inspiration as you navigate your career path. And I like to tell my ladies this, and I always give this warning. I know many, especially women, we like to do this. We'll have a circle of friends, and some of those friends are nasty, right? Yes, I said nasty. They're nice and they're nasty, right? So while we say they're friends, they can say cutting, biting, rude, dismissive, descending comments towards us. So when we're talking about a supportive career community, they shouldn't be in your community. That is not supportive. And I've had clients that most of the folks that they were calling their supportive community, they were nasty. They were nice and they were nasty and they were not helpful. Right. So a supportive community is just that people who are encouraging, not that they won't call you out on your stuff, because you do need people that will call you out and be honest with you, right? But they're motivating. Again, they're encouraging. They motivate you to move forward, or they give you inspiration, give you that. Sometimes, as I like to tell my clients, there are times that I'm going to walk beside you, but every blue moon when you need it, I'll walk in front and give you a tug. Or if you need it, I'll be behind you giving it a little shove forward, right? You want someone to do that, not someone who's standing off in the corner, making dismissive remarks, or when you move ahead, they're more jealous than helpful to you. Make sure that you clean up your supportive community. Make sure that you clean it up so that you do have, you're able to build relationships with folks who can provide, again, guidance and positive role models. And it helps you to gain perspective and also gain confidence, right? Which those things you need to be able to overcome self-doubt and achieve your goals. And so again, mental fitness is such a positive tool for Black women who are leaders, because as you move into those managerial positions, whether you're a first-time manager or whether you're seasoned, but now you're looking to take on another challenge, or you're moving up that ladder, we have that self-doubt, right? And that imposter syndrome that could just kick our behind, right? But if you attend to your mental health, you can unlock the secrets of success. Again, practicing self-compassion, practicing mindfulness, and surrounding yourself with a supportive community, minus all the nasty folks in there. Folks that are nice and they're nasty together, right? You don't need those in there. Okay. Because your goal is really to break free of self-criticism, breaking free of those negative thoughts. When we have, so much negative thoughts and self-criticism running, it just opens the door for the imposter syndrome to come in. And again, we cheat ourselves out of promotions. We don't have to worry about someone not opening the door for us, because sometimes we're like closing the door ourselves before we ever get there with the negative thought patterns that we have. All right. And so again, you realize already that you are the backbone of your community, and you're also the driving force, right, of your professional, wherever it is that you work professionally. And so being able to balance your career and your personal life and all the other countless responsibilities that can feel a bit overwhelming sometimes is necessary. Let me ask you, are you navigating through the high pressure meetings and the tight deadlines while trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle and a balance with your self-care routine? And it just, it feels like it's a never ending cycle, and you're never quite there with the self-care. You're never quite there with taking care of what you need to, right? And then we start adding all the other things to do when we're adulting: managing finances, being a husband or a spouse or a wife to your mate, staying connected on social media if you need to do that, caring for loved ones. And we know oftentimes, especially in our Black communities, we're caring for grandmas and granddads and uncles and aunts and children and nieces and nephews. It's just no wonder that you're asking yourself, how do I succeed and maintain my well-being with all of this going on around me? How did I do that? without self-criticism and always feeling like I'm not doing enough and I'm not measuring enough. Well, you do that through building your mental fitness, right? And again, that's the solution. And I'm actually here to guide you on this journey. Mental fitness coaching is your key to thriving in today's fast paced world by really equipping you with the tools to conquer stress, to overcome self-sabotage, to overcome overwhelm and burnout. Yeah, we're talking about nixing this imposter syndrome, nixing that self-criticism, and being able to unlock your mental clarity and be intentional, take intentional action about creating your sense of peace around you, no matter what is going on around you, whether it's chaos at the job or chaos at the home. You can build your mental peace so you sail through that as long as you're building your mental fitness. And guess what? You can actually achieve all of this in 8 short weeks. Yes, that is right. 8 short weeks. So it's my VIP mental fitness coaching program. It is 8 weeks. It is intense, right? But in 8 short weeks, you can actually elevate your mental health game. You can increase your physical fitness, your mental fitness. You can increase your peace of mind. You actually spend more time in peak performance, and you will notice that your personal relationships start to feel healthier, right? And so, if you know that this is you and you're ready to elevate your mental fitness game, comment with success below, right? Comment with success, and I'll reach out to you and schedule a mental fitness call. It's like a 15-minute call, right? You'll be able to empower yourself to rise above and actually create the life that you deserve. One that feels fulfilling versus being behind a train trying to run and catch up with your life. It seems like your life is always running off and leaving you. You can get on that train and direct it with peace of mind, lower stress, right? And enable yourself to work in that peak performance. So thank you for hanging in there. And like I said, I got a bonus for you. Yes, March is ending and I've been doing the bonus, this whole entire month, unlocking the secrets to mental and unlocking secrets to career success, right? So next week I'm going to extend it one more week for the bonus week, how Black and Latina women can successfully find safe working places. So you don't want to miss that. I'll be back here the right time this time. 8:35 p.m., 7:35 Central Time, or 8:35 Eastern, 7:35 Central, and then 5:35 Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes I can't say that, but I nailed it tonight. Cool beans, right? Thank you for hanging in there again. If you're looking for a way to increase your mental fitness, you can do that in about 2 months. Very much possible. Improve your emotional health, improve your mental fitness, and see how you will soar, drop success. And I'll be in touch. Take care. Bye bye.